Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday and it's now tea time with Give me just a second. I'm trying to record my screen. I have to edit. Maybe expand video. So give me just a second while I work these kinks out. Too bad you can't just pause. Good morning, good morning. So I'm using a different setup this morning, so please bear with me. I'm using my laptop and I'm going to screen record so that way I can get it done and out the way. So we'll go ahead and start this morning. Good morning. I am Lady M. I am our Maleficent. I am Roberta. Whatever you are comfortable with calling me, I'm here for it. And those are what I go by. It is tea time with Lady M. I have my tea and hopefully you have your tea as well. We're going to start our morning out with our good morning grounding, getting us energized, getting us going, because I will tell you we're gonna need that energy for this week's topic, that little elephant in the room. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. We're gonna get our morning meditation going. Good morning, Jamie. I cannot see who's on, I just see who is a viewer. So good morning. It's not the same as using my phone. So good morning. So let's get our morning meditation. I'm feeling pretty good, so I'm gonna start out and I'm gonna go ahead and stand up. Set that aside. Again, I do not own the rights to this music. It is music I have found on YouTube. This is an Icelandic duo that I have found. It is with drums and singing. So we're just gonna open it up because that's what we're feeling this morning. So if you can feel it, stand up, let's get that energy moving. Move your arms. Feel that energy. Don't forget your legs. Why do we want to move our bodies to help us ground? Well, when we move, we get that energy. We feel the energy go up through our bodies. It's waking it up and it's revitalizing it. What it does with grounding is, again, it takes that energy that we don't need and it propels it into the ground. It takes that energy that we do need and brings it back up with all that good energy. I'm so proud of myself. I'm so proud of myself. I didn't call Nick. I want to call her like, listen, dumb fuck, like,
Give a little Sara Lee love and see how far the love goes.
So if you're doing meditation, I do recommend finding a meditation video that does not have ads, because there is nothing worse than having a meditation and all of a sudden you have a blaring ad and you're in that mood, you're in the zone, and you're like, oh, why?
Because it was bullshit.
Kind of breaks it up.
It was about a video.
So, good morning. Again, I am Lady M. I am our Maleficent. I am Roberta. Whatever you are comfortable calling me. Lady M is my spiritual name. Our Maleficent is my artistic name. Roberta is my given name. All three are appropriate, and I respond to all three. Unless you know me personally and know my nicknames, then that's a different story. This morning, it is tea time with Lady M, so I do hope you have your hot brews, cold brews, whatever your favorite beverages are. Today I am doing is the same. I'm doing live
message
video. It looks like
because
your
the
live may
history is wrong. I
Oh.
was like, and there's so much more that could be taught. I was like, I'm a witch. I was like, and I don't care if this loses me a
Am I
friend,
still on?
but this is
Jamie,
so-
are you still
this
there?
This is not correct. In any way,
Apparently
shape,
I'm
or
not
form.
allowed to
She
have music
proceeds
anymore.
to unfriend
They
me,
almost
right?
blocked
And
my
has to
video.
send me the message. What the fuck was
Okay,
that?
well
Like, that
anyways,
was
it
the
says I'm
messenger
still
energy.
live. I'm
Yeah,
not
I'm
blocked.
on a
Okay.
There was no point to that.
So I got a little ban, or I got a little warning because I had some music playing, even though I gave a little stipulation saying I don't own the rights to the music. So I will find a different route for our morning groundings. That does
Exactly.
not pertain.
And that's why I
music,
put, that's why
'cause we don't-
I had to
actually
put the
quite
last
enjoy doing
word
this.
in because she
Anyways,
just wanted to
back
repeat
to
herself
tea
and be
time.
like,
This
well, I
morning's
hope you,
tea
you know.
is a caffeine-free Earl
Yep.
Grey,
So
which again is
that's
the
why I
same
was like,
company
it's
I
funny
have been
how in the
using,
Bible
Lake
it says,
Missoula
you
Tea
know,
Company, and this is a Cape
he
Town
doesn't judge
Grey.
thy neighbor, but
This
you
one
sure are.
is a Rubios tea, which I'm sorry if I am saying that wrong, Rubios, but it is like a red tea. It has white peppercorn, peony flowers, very flavorful for a Rubios tea. Most Rubios I cannot stand on their own, so this is actually a really good one. I enjoy, and I'm doing caffeine free because I've already, this will be my third cup of tea this morning. So, I'm just doing that. So, I'm gonna be right back.
So, there,
I forgot to set myself up for success this morning. Go grab my notebook. Good morning to whoever is joining us. Thank you. I can't see who's joining us, but this week I gave you a little snippet that there's an elephant in the room that
wanna
nobody
judge me
really
and pass
wants
the
to
judgment.
address.
I won't be
And
nice about
what
it.
is this elephant in the room?
Yeah.
Well, I set out a poll. Several of you answered, and
and this
it's a
person
great
has known
way
me
for me to see where I need to spread myself in the next couple of weeks and go from there. But for those of you who voted for shadow work, that is a huge elephant in the room, and a lot of people fear the topic, or they say, I'm putting it off. I just want to be all light. I don't want to work my shadows. Well, guess what? I'm sorry, sweetheart, but that's not.
And that's why
You will be working your shadows. You have been working your shadows, especially when you are beginning to realize it. So with our shadows, so give me a second. I take notes all the time. I'm a writer. I love to write things down. So again, this week I already knew what my topic was going to be, and I've been guided to different avenues to kind of pick out things that I necessarily couldn't put to words, but I could gather information.
And that's why I
so
put in the, when I
could
went back
get
and
those-
sat on the
that
TikTok,
information
she
to
said,
you,
oh, well, I
because,
had demons
again,
and
shadow
things
work
attached
is
to me
one of
and
those
stuff.
topics
Okay,
that
well, then you dove
is
into it not knowing what the
people
fuck
don't want to do it, or they fear it because it brings up too many, per se, bad memories. And that's not what it's meant to do. Yes, it does, but what shadow work is, it's supposed to help you. It's supposed to get you through those lower times so that you can become your higher self and you can vibrate at those higher places that you need to be, that energy. So what is shadow work? And if you don't mind me, I am going to kind of read my notes, flip through it, so I don't get sidetracked, because I am going to
And that's why I
this
said I'm
at
very well aware of
an
who
hour
I am and what
as
I'm capable
best
of, and I
as
understand
possible.
both sides. That,
So,
yeah, there's good and there's
what
bad. Fuck
the
around,
notes
find
will
out.
do was will keep me on track, and I'm going to ask it in a viewer question. I'm going to ask some questions that might
I know.
seem scary and kind of break it down for you.
But I'm also a spiritual
So-
person. She couldn't get past that.
Do I go on?
Cheers. let's get started. Shadow work is things that are from our past, things that we have put away, things that we don't want to work on. Now, these things can be good, they can be bad. Perspective, it really is about perspective. However, what we do is we tend to push it aside. Sometimes we get these things and we don't want to work on them, or they may not be important. Maybe we just had a huge celebration or milestone in our thing, but we're like, yeah, no, it's not the goal. It's not the end goal. And you're bypassing it. So you push it away so you don't celebrate those things. You don't read the things that you need to. And that's what shadow work is. It's figuring out what those triggers are, figuring out the underlying emotions that go with it, and go from there. So let's see.
Now you want to lash out irrationally at me because I'm speaking out on something I
When
believe
we
in?
push it
and
aside
I'm
and
telling
we
you that
build
you're
up
wrong?
and we don't work on those things, these things tend
That's
to
not
turn
okay.
into fears. The fears that, again, they may be something beautiful and we've pushed it away for so long, we're afraid to find out the unknown and realize that it's not so scary in the end. And I'm gonna type these up and I'm going to have it in the group so you can kind of have a see of what shadow work is. And go from there so you can process it in your own way. And I'm talking in the perspective of my own perspective, nobody else's. I cannot dictate and I cannot tell you how to do your shadow work. Everyone's journey is going to be different. Now, what I can do is you can come to me and I will help you because, again, I am a shadow worker and my job here on this planet in this time is to work those shadows. I am to help those that are lost in their journey and get them back on the right track. I am here to help you see that your shadows aren't as scary as you may think they are. Because again, I have been that person. I am all light. I don't want to work my shadows. I'm not ready for it. I'm really scared of it. And I even said those words out loud. And it's been a beautiful journey since I've started realizing that. A way that you can look at shadow work is, it's like, I don't know if you've ever said the saying where, oh, you're not gonna like me, I'm very broken. I have, or I'm very difficult. I have too many broken pieces. Look at it this way. You are a fragmented energy piece. And those fragments come from things that you've pushed aside and you don't want to work on, and they become that fear. And when we start learning to figure out the triggers, figure out the underlying emotions, those fragments begin to heal and they begin to come back to our full energy source of who we are as an individual. And that gets us back to that higher energy vibrational stage, that higher conscious of where we need to be. When should we work on our shadow work? Guess what? You probably already have been. Do you journal? Do you write?
Have we seen me? Have we met
Do you
me?
pray? Do you?
At times
it may
I'm a
not be
walking
big steps. It may
danger
not be
field to
consistent
myself.
steps. But if you are doing these things, if you are breaking cycles, say you are in a domestic violent relationship and you are working on getting yourself out of that relationship and be able to strive because it's for your kids, your loved ones, yourself. You're doing it for you. You're making that choice to step into the unknown, break that cycle, so you can live a better life instead of being trapped in this cycle where
yes, I did that.
you are being brought down by a narcissist, an abuser, an energy vampire is what they are. And once you break that cycle, you begin to not only heal yourself, you begin to heal generations of trauma. You begin to heal your children's trauma. and the things that go along with it. Because when you start beginning to heal yourself, good morning, Annie Paula. When you begin to heal yourself, it's the journey you take it's not easy. It does not happen overnight. You cannot say I worked on my shadow and a day later you're better. That is not how it works. It takes
such a fucking pain
time.
in the ass to do.
It takes patience, and most importantly, it takes a lot of self-love, because you have to retrain your mind. Our mind
No, I've
is
changed.
our
I seriously
powerful
just
tool,
changed
and that's where
the
our
one,
shadow hides.
like
It
3 weeks
is-
ago, and it kept flashing. So I was like, okay, what the fuck ever.
It's a mental
Or it's
thing.
out,
We
but
play
the
those
other
things.
one,
We
it's been
get
good. It's been in there
told
for
these things over and over, and then our mind takes
6
over,
months.
and
They
then
usually go for
you'll
about a
begin
year,
to
2
realize
years.
that a lot of the things that you put that are in your mind
Alright, well, if
are
everybody's okay, fucking
self-put
turn it off now. It's not my
because
fault.
of the trauma, because we felt that we weren't good enough. We didn't feel the love. Good morning, Annabelle. The most beautiful thing you will ever work on is yourself. It is, absolutely. And when you start realizing those
Yeah.
things, and you start taking
Are we gonna keep flickering?
the steps to work on yourself, it truly becomes a beautiful journey. Is it lonely? You're gonna hear this a lot. Is it lonely?
Ready for a disco?
Yes, it is absolutely lonely. But guess what? You're not alone. Every single one of us are going through our own journey of healing. It's just a matter of how we're getting out there
Right there.
to make a difference.
Yeah, like the
You may
disco
not
in the
be in
mornings.
that journey to step
it's
out
less
of your
burnout, so
comfort
I'm like,
zone,
Are you gonna burn out
and
today?
make a difference, and get into your soul,
No, it's not loose.
what your soul mission is
It's the
meant
only
to
one
be.
I haven't replaced in the kitchen
Again,
yet.
I'm here to help
Since
the
I
shadow.
moved in.
I'm here to help those that are
I
lost in their
replaced the
journey.
other two,
That's my
so
shadow.
they're good.
That's
But
me
that one
working
is
on
not.
those shadows, and I've had to do a lot of work. So when you are working on these shadows and you're actively doing it, you may see people who are struggling with their shadows, and they may seem like they're trapped. Guess what? They are trapped. We can only do so much to help another person. If they don't want to listen, then guess what? Why am I going to continue to waste my energy on somebody who does not want to listen? You may listen way down the road when it's too late, but at that point, I cannot do anything, and I will give chances. I give chances. But after the third chance, with my grit and grace, after the third chance, I have to pull away, because at that time, I have to realize it's not a me problem anymore, because I am trying to help you. It becomes a you problem because you do not want to fix yourself. So yes, people can get trapped in those cycles. It's up to them to break those cycles and get out. Yes, they may ask for help, and they say, hey, I need help. Get me out of this situation. I'm in a domestic violence. And I'm using domestic violence because I have been in a domestic violent relationship that almost killed me. So it has been a part of my shadow work. So it's just the first thing that comes up. Child abuse is another one. I have been abused as a child. So I could use many things as example. So again, this is my journey for the shadow, but instead of being stuck, instead of being tormented in those shadows and reliving those moments, what I try to do is I try to figure out what the trigger is and what the emotion is. So a lot of my triggers, I'm going to give one of my biggest shadows. A lot of people don't know. I struggle with my birthday, and I have a birthday coming up, and for the first time
It's not a good thing.
in a long time, I'm actually excited for my birthday. It's not.
If she is a bright.
It hasn't been an easy journey, but it's been a lot of that shadow work that I've had to do, a lot of that healing, a lot of that letting go. And it's,
her 11-year-old.
again, it's for the first time I am excited for my birthday, and you know, it came to the point, you know, where either my birthday was remembered or a certain holiday was remembered, which made me despise that certain holiday. I do not like Valentine's Day, and
because she
for the
had
longest
no
time, I
choice in those
associated
days.
it because it was just so close to my birthday and people just forgot about my birthday. And as a kid, that is hard. You shouldn't have a
If they do,
parental
people
figure
forget.
coming into your room at midnight 3 days
'Cause the
later
first thing
after
we do
your
when
birthday to
when
say,
we
hey,
have a
I'm
house
sorry,
party,
I
we
forgot
take
about
over,
your
hey,
birthday.
there's snacks
At
and
that
stuff,
point, it would have
go
been
for it.
just better to
They
say,
know I
hey,
don't cook
just to
breakfast,
leave it
they
at
know I
that,
don't cook-
less
I
painful.
don't do lunch. You guys
But
can make a
it
sandwich,
was
you can get a bowl
blatantly
of cereal and
admitted
stuff. I
and
do have those things.
still wasn't celebrated. And that's
Yeah.
hurtful.
I've got Pop-Tarts and stuff. There's
So
breakfast
I'm
things in
actually
there. There are things in
genuinely
there that you
excited,
can eat.
and it took a lot of me
Dinner, I
letting
will
go of the
absolutely cook
past,
for you.
because I've generally
But yeah.
been one
Didn't give him
to be in
fucking
control of
candy,
my
didn't offer
birthday,
him anything.
especially as an adult. I don't do surprises.
And when
My
I was,
anxiety really, really, really goes up. And last year there was nothing planned, and in a spur of a moment, I was like, let's go to Montana. We did a 5.5 hour road trip, went to the Lewis and Clark Caverns, had the entire campground to ourselves, spent the night, the weekend, in the cabins, and that was my birthday, and that was perfect. This year, my husband, my hubby, fiance, he is an amazing man. I had to really, really dig down and trust this man. I had to trust the unknown that he was going to do something for me, even with all his stats at Valentine's Day. And if you really want to know, go and do some research in history on Valentine's Day. You might be surprised. Western culture changed it into what it is now. It wasn't so pretty back then, just so you know.
Oh, I know that, and I picked up on it. I picked up on it
But,
from Raven.
So he has a whole day
probably
planned, and he could feel my anxiety. I did stop asking
6 to 8
what we
months
were
ago,
doing for my
right
birthday,
before- right around,
just
like,
because I did, again, that
summertime
control
and when school started back up. And
intimidates
I
me.
kinda picked up on
Elise,
the
it is very
little
intimidating,
hints
but I'm gonna
and
go into
whatnot,
some
and I
things
was
that
just
make
like,
it
I'm
not
not
so
feeling this energy.
intimidating.
It's not good energy. Whatever she's doing,
Maybe.
it's fucking
And
her
that
son
when
up
you-
even more.
When
And
you
there's
start
absolutely- I don't know
narrowing
what it
things
is.
down, that
It's not.
a lot
I
on your
can't
plate,
say she's
you're gonna
doing
come
drugs.
down and be like,
I don't think she's doing
Wow.
drugs. I don't know what it is.
I
There's
actually
something
have
that's going on
more
that just-
to do than I thought.
Yeah.
It's all about
Yeah.
balancing yourself, that
And I was like- and
time,
I told them, I was
working
like,
on
I
yourself, that
don't see this.
consistency. But I will
That
get
one's
into
out
that
in-
more into
for
that.
this 5th grade, they're out in a little,
For that.
little-
So anyways, back to my birthday. I'm excited.
No,
He
they're
broke
all
down,
honest,
told me
is
what we were
they're
doing.
little
He's getting me a
off-building
massage,
honestly to the school. So his
because,
classroom's
you
in
know, I have
Yeah.
a bad back,
There you
and
go.
unfortunately,
So his
as
classroom
strong
is
as
in
his
affordable,
plumber
and he
hands
thinks
are,
it's in school, so
they get
very
tired very
each
quickly.
other.
So
when they
I got
do
a
it,
level
it's just
3
very,
massage coming.
this and
I
that,
can
and it's
boost it up to a level 4 if I need it. Funny thing is I don't feel 2/3 of my back, so that level 3 is going to be very, very much appreciated. It's gonna get some knots. I've had some knots, and then we're both going to do a deprivation tank, which again I'm excited for because I'm gonna work on some shadows in that deprivation tank. And then it's some arcade and a dinner. I get to dress up, and he's taking me to a fancy dinner, so I'm excited for that. And I had to really trust. So it was me. He's like, you can change it. He got really panicked. He's like, we can change it. We can go somewhere. We can do something else. And I really said no. I was like, I really love what you've done. I love the
Re-recording.
thought that you've put it in it, because it is about the thought. He is doing something for me, so I'm very thoughtful that it is coming about, and that's my abundance, is I get to celebrate me in a way that I never got to before as a child. So I get to let my inner child come out. I get to let that inner freedom flow and the confidence. So I am excited for a birthday. How can shadow work benefit me? Well, it is beneficial because you've heard me say it multiple times. It is about getting to that higher self, that higher conscience, being your best self. And just keep learning and keep growing in the process. If you think you know everything, then you're stopping yourself from
she's
true
been
growth,
doing
because
her
I have found
healing.
that you
She
will
reached
learn
out.
and
She
grow
has reached out
every
to me
day in your
personally, so
journey.
I know how she's
Sometimes
doing.
it's with
She's
shadow
been
work,
keeping
sometimes
tabs. She's done
it's with your inner child and your
tremendous
healing
things
and
that's a lot
letting your
more help
creative
her ex
endeavors
is
out.
negative and narcissistic. She
It
filed an
helps your
apology
mental
for
health.
him.
If you are in a
And I
depressed
told
state,
her, I was
you
like,
begin
hey,
to
even though you're getting an apology,
lower that
just keep
depression.
your
I will say
your
I
guard
was
up
on
with this one.
depression
She
medication
goes,
for 2
absolutely.
years,
And, you know,
and
but
I
she's
am
doing really good. She's been
officially
doing a lot of
depression medication free,
heavy,
because I worked
healing, and she's been
really,
trying
really,
to
really
figure out
hard
her soul
with
mission.
myself, and I was
Personal purpose.
consistent with myself. I found what worked for me, and what that was I took my oracle, which was my
So is
ocean
anybody
deck,
you know?
and every single day, we
Anybody
would
you're
shuffle,
friends with?
we'd get our fallout,
Is
and
her
I would pull
boyfriend?
the top card and see what I needed to work on. And that was what gave me the daily
That's
guidance.
why I
But some
told
of it
you
was
shouldn't have just
daunting.
gone and randomly
Some
added
of it
those
was
thousands of
fear-based,
people.
and it opened me to
But
letting me see what those fears are, those certain triggers, those emotions. Because then when I was able to realize what those. Good morning, Nikki. I actually believe it's afternoon your time. So good afternoon. But anyways, those are the things that the shadow that helped me with my shadow and helped me bring balance to my life. I was able to see that my shadow, I had a lot of beautiful things hidden, a lot of things that I took away from myself, my art, my thinking power in general. You come to me with a conversation, I can now have an intellectual conversation without shutting down about a certain subject. Maybe it's about again my domestic violence. Maybe it's about unaliving yourself, because I've been there. I've tried it, and you know it's not an easy topic. But I was in dark places. I have watched where I was in those dark places and not a single soul. They watched me cry for help, and not a single soul reached out to help me. And it really opened my eyes to who is meant to be in my path and who is meant to be in this journey. And it really helped me weed out the people who no longer benefited me, and I didn't push them aside. I cut energy with them. I cut all ties with them. I removed them, and I did it with love. I did it with, grace, and said, I've been down that road, not fun. It's not fun, Papa Bear. It's not. And it just, when I keep my inner circle very, very, very close. And I've lost who I thought were my best friends. I've lost people who were family, but then again, I cut those negative, toxic people out who were pushing their insecurities onto me and making me lower my self-esteem, my vibrations, because that's what they were projecting onto me. Because I had to take the time to, as an empath, which is also hard to do, I had to disassociate myself from everything in that 1.5 year journey of strict shadow work where I was consistent, and disassociate myself so I could figure out, is this a me problem or is this a them problem? Because as an empath, we tend to pick up everybody else's problems, their baggage and everything else, which will be another topic for another day. So it was really making room for the good energies to come in and support you. Exactly. And there's always that room for growing, and sometimes you're gonna find yourself in your shadow work that you're gonna find yourself going back to certain topics that are the same. You're like, oh well, I thought I already healed from that. Well, you may have healed from a certain aspect, that certain trigger, that certain emotion that came from it, but there might be some more underlying things that you pushed away that are now coming forward that you have to adjust. So for example, I did a lot of healing with my biological father, and I did a lot of cord cutting. I have not associated with this man in over
The odd friend request.
5 years, so give or take. So I had to find myself going through those steps to get through the stuff that I didn't heal. I had to get myself into those truths and speak my truths to be able to let go and be like, I'm done. When I said my final goodbye, it was more of goodbye. I hope you realize in this lifetime what you missed out, that was great, but I hope you realize the lies that were fed to you and what you believed in. So it felt amazing to be able to finally let go, because I mean it took a toll, and when I say it took a toll, I would be like, you know, I do it because I love the man. I still do love the man. He I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't because of him. I wouldn't be here today because of my biological mother. They gave birth to me, and I have trauma from both. I hate to say it. I had a friend that said, I miss the old positive, happy you. Get over it, because this is not fun. Jamie, people want to hold on to things. They want to hold on to the old. And when we're shedding those things, we go through those times, that roller coaster. We're going to feel the emotions. We're going to feel the hurt, the trauma. And we're going to bring back memories that are uncomfortable. And that's what shadow work is. And when people get uncomfortable, they have a tendency to be like, no, this is not for me. And they want to turn around and go back the other way. That's those people that are stuck, that get stuck in those cycles because they don't want to be uncomfortable. But yet their lives are miserable because they don't want to own up and start healing from those traumas. So it becomes in depth. So when you're consistent with yourself, you start with one thing, and this was a military thing that was taught to me, and I will forever make it, because it was a chief that taught it to me. He said, you know, if you have a goal, write it down. He goes, but the most important thing is, he goes, it takes 21 days to make a habit. So if you're writing a journal, he goes, I started with positive affirmation journals when I was in the military, because I was in some dark places. I didn't heal from my domestic violence. I didn't heal from, you know, my narcissistic marriage. I didn't heal from the mental abuse the military puts you through. It was just stuck. You go. You just do. And that's a sad aspect to have. And it took me a long time to break that aspect as well.
It helps protect you.
But again, it's going back and it's thinking about those fragments. Once we begin to heal those fragments, we find those triggers. So, you know, if we're lashing out irrationally, maybe we would need to take a step back, find that stillness, and be like, okay, why am I lashing out irrationally? This is not who I am. Find that trigger, okay? Write that trigger down, okay? How does this trigger make me feel? It's about breaking it down. So if you're doing it through oracle or tarot reads, you're doing it through daily meditation, those are all things that will help you. So make that habit.
So all of my
21
memes
days,
that I
make
posted
that
on that
habit.
post
Start small.
totally
and you can
fits
start
the
building up
subject
from
then.
there. If you didn't know, I have
And you
shadow
know what's
work
so
questions
funny is
that
I
go
had
through,
no, like, I
and
kind of
they
had a
go in
feeling.
an
So
eye
I was like, you know what,
perspective
she told me I can't
instead
keep up
of
with
a
weird.
you
Fuck
perspective.
you,
So
I'm gonna go be
can't
weird.
deflect
So I
your
typed
own
in
shadow
weird
work.
in the gift
You're
things, and those were the
reflecting
ones
on
that popped up,
And
and I was
it
like,
might
yep,
be things that
yep,
you didn't even
that's what I
realize
need.
that are underlying, but they're there. And it's just based off of simple words. Things, so that, and this goes, when you're in the shadow work and you're in that realm, you're gonna think up here is where I am. I'm at the top of the mountain. And when you start becoming consistent with your shadow work, you're gonna start
But my gifts
feeling that
fucking
downward
clicked, did
slope.
they
You're
not?
gonna start going down. You're gonna start leveling out. You're gonna start hit a little plateau. And then it's gonna kind of go back
And
up.
then you're like,
And then it's
you're
gonna
like,
do the same
oh.
thing until you get more down to ground level with the ground.
and then you're like,
You
10
feel
minutes
that
later, you're
balance.
like, oh,
You feel
fuck.
that light. But in that
Now it
journey,
clicks.
you must understand even when you're balanced, it is still a fine line that you must pay attention to, because it is very, very easy to topple. Maybe you are getting that abundance and you are now, you're feeling it now. It's in the money and you're feeling it and you're getting more and more in, but you're forgetting to give back. And that's what shadow work is too. You're not only giving yourself, but you're giving back. You're healing. You're doing all these things that your body needs to do mentally, physically, spiritually. And when you get to that spot, it's beautiful. Things that, what it does is,
And that's why I said,
your
it's
not a thing that
So-
happens overnight. It's not a thing that happens in a day's time frame. It could be years. It could be
It's not about
weeks,
that.
months.
It's the
There is
personal.
no time limit on healing the shadow
Yes,
work.
but people,
You can have more clarity of mind. Things that you easily forgot now become more
girls.
easy to remember. I will tell you,
those-
me doing these live broadcasts a year ago, I would not have had the
I know.
voice to be able to do them. But I've done the
I know,
work
but the
to
thing
be
is-
able
is
to
that-
learn and
that if
grow
that's public,
and
they can
continue
get
to
those
grow
pictures.
to be able to have that voice.
So
I had
what
to
are you doing
heal
with girls
a
being
lot
justice
because my
if
voice
those
was
pictures
taken
are
from me
public,
at a
and
young
people-
age,
everybody
and
online
I
can see
couldn't
them.
voice my things.
So
I
go,
had
that's
to
why
learn
I'm
how
saying,
to
go,
communicate with
I
my
don't
hubby,
care about the certain
financially,
posts, but the ones that involve,
romantically,
like, pictures and stuff, go
spiritually,
walk that down.
be able to
Anything
have
that
those
has
intellectual
personal,
conversations that
identifiable
I
information, any personal information,
loved
anything,
and craved,
lock it
but
down.
couldn't get myself to
Any
without
of your
being,
extra
without shutting
albums,
down.
whatnot, images, whatever,
You
lock it
become
down.
more
The only thing that
self-aware.
should be visible is your profile
You
picture.
are aligned.
And your
You are
cover.
more aligned spiritually.
Or,
You are
you know,
more
your
aligned
relationship status,
mentally.
whatever.
You are more aligned
I
physically.
think I have my,
Especially if you're doing all three things to keep
Yeah.
you aligned.
so you might
In the
just
shadow
go
work
and
area,
check the,
it's very
go
easy
and check
to
your,
focus on yourself
your
mentally
pictures,
and
your
spiritually.
albums, because
And I will
you
say
can
that
be
for the last
sharing
year, I
posts and
did.
they're public,
I
and you may not
didn't
be
really
realizing
focus
that
on my
you're posting
physical health
pictures.
until
and they're
this
public as
year
well.
when I quit smoking and I no longer walk my bonus son to school. So I needed it to incorporate
Yeah.
movement
So
back
go
into
and lock some
my
things
daily
down.
life.
That's all I'm saying.
So
It
you
doesn't
become
mean
more
stop sharing
self-aware of the things that your body needs.
Yeah. The stupid
You
shit.
did-
It's just
You
the main
deepen
thing
your
I'm worried
compassion for
about
others.
is
So if
the
you're an
pictures,
empath,
that's where they're
an
getting the
empathic
information
person,
from.
you're going to feel more
'Cause you
deeply.
say
You're
you
going
give
to
a little bit
understand
more than you
more deeply
realize
because you not
sometimes,
only
even
understand
when you're
the things that
being
you have gone through with your shadow, you
cryptic.
can now open yourself up without
You
shutting
can
down
still give a lot
and
away.
relate to them and
it-
get them the help that they need. You can get them pointed in the right direction. Thank you, Jamie. Let's see. You strengthen your relationship with those around you. You also, again, it brings in that awareness. You weed out those negative people, those toxins, those weeds that just dampen your roots and don't let you breathe. Once you get rid of them, you realize who's in your circle and then some. Your circle kind of starts to begin to expand with all the positive and the loving people that are meant to be in your life. Sometimes it is temporary, sometimes it is permanent. It all depends what they are here to learn from you. So I have a very deep understanding that people in my life are not permanent, and they will come and go just depending on what their healing journey is there for. But I also have been meeting my soul family in this journey, and that's people where my soul has connected with them, not just in this lifetime, but previous lifetimes and multiple at that. So we have that connection there. So that's another topic for a different day. You begin to unveil hidden talents.
It is
You
rough.
begin to find out what your soul mission is, your soul purpose. You may be given more than one mission. You may have individual missions that just reflect solely on you. So you don't really spread that word. So for me, like, I kind of
affected
have a
me so
human
bad,
lie
I couldn't even do
detector.
my
I don't tell
morning
people
poll
that.
this morning.
So instead, I tell people I have the gift of grit and grace, which is true because if you're doing shadow work, I cannot always be
know, but
graceful
I-
with you when you're doing shadow work and you're not
I know,
listening,
but I
or if I'm
couldn't- I-
repeating myself
I
and
couldn't do
it's not
anything
quite
because
getting
I
through.
was elevated,
So
I was like,
sometimes
"Look,
that
this is their
harshness
So, yeah,
has to
it
come
started
across
really bad this
to
morning
get the
because
point across to be
his
like,
dumbass
look,
didn't
I
come
told
home
you
until
so.
7:30, thought he was
You're
leaving
not
early
listening.
for work.
The universe has
No,
been trying to tell you this.
miscommunication. Didn't fucking
Your
communicate
the
with me.
signs have been trying
So
to
I
tell
was
you
already
this,
irritated
but
when
you
he
are
was walking out the
continuing
door
to
at
not listen.
7:30 this
So
morning.
that's what
And I'm
it all comes down
big
when you
fucking
are
lying. And
unveiling
then
those hidden
dumb fuck
talents.
Charlotte comes
They're beautiful.
in and
They're
just
also scary because they're
kinda,
new. They're unknown. They're almost like a forbidden
So it's not that I didn't
forbidden
want to, it's
fruit
just
because
was
I
like,
guarantee
nope, I
if
have
you
to-
grew up in a generation
need
like
to calm
I
my energy
did,
a little bit.
they would tell you that
Go
things
in.
like
I
this
didn't
were
wanna go in
evil or
aggravated.
you're evil
That's not what
because
I'm
you
doing. That's
believe
not
in
what I'm
those.
here for.
No,
I understand
that's
that.
all part of
This is just
the
an emotion,
manifestation
and I need to calm
station
down and
that we
make
talked
sure
about
it makes
last
sense
week.
instead of being negative.
You become
Which I do
more
think
confident.
that it might-
You
might
feel
get
the wholeness in
goal will
yourself.
probably
You
go into
become
today's goal.
more appreciative of the
'Cause I
things.
do-
One of the biggest hurdles with my clients is it is a hurdle. Let's see. You find your true will and your higher self in those things. So what it comes down to is, and you're deepening yourself to the divine, your intuition, your that higher conscious. You're learning who you are, but you're also capable of giving your gifts out to the world the way they're meant to be. But it comes with that
Trust me, and that's why,
consistency.
like,
You
and,
have to
and
do
that's why
the
I said
work.
I'm proud of myself. I don't feel like I lashed out irrationally.
If you work
I
with
don't feel like I called
goddesses,
names. I wasn't
there
yelling
are dark
or
goddesses
raising, but,
that
perspective via
are
text.
more in
But
tune with
I
shadow
gave my
work.
point, and it's just
So
like,
you
hey,
can,
were quick to
if you
judge.
are drawn to
And
them,
that's fucked up.
I would absolutely start working with
And
them.
you've known this
These
for
are-
a very, very long time.
Now you don't
Just
have to
because
work
I
with
decided
goddesses.
to
I
go
worked
against
with
you
Bridget the
and say,
first
no,
year
this is
before
not
Hades
right.
came to me. So it just kind of
So
and Bridget is light goddess. So just
it is what it is.
just know. Actually,
But
I
had
should
to
say
calm down
I
and
worked
be-
with Hell,
I feel better.
and then
I know
now I
did the
work
right
with
thing,
Hades.
and
So just
did I need
they
to
come in
necessarily
those
get the
forms.
last
Just
day in?
pay attention to signs.
No.
Could be come in a form of animal, numerology, names, but these are a few. And if I pronounce them wrong, I am sorry. I was born in these times at one point, but I'm in this time, and yeah, I struggle with English language at times.
In her post,
So
I
there
don't care
is
if this
Hecate,
this
or,
if this is someone that loses a friend.
Hecate.
Don't care.
So it can be spelled with
Here's
a
the
C or a
thing.
K.
It's my
I'm
truth.
not here to judge how
Doesn't
you
mean
say
I'm
it.
a bad person.
There, in my
because I am
world, there is
a
no
witch.
wrong way to say it. Kali,
Your
the
perspective
Morrigan,
is wrong.
Lilith,
So I
Nyx,
and when she came out
Paris
and came to my
Bone,
messenger, okay,
Circe,
sorry.
Baba Yaga,
I was nice enough to say
Irish
I don't care if I
Kiggle,
lose a friend over this.
Isis,
And now that you're coming to my messenger
Ceridwen,
after you've unfolded me,
Aeana,
'cause it had the option
and
to delete or
Eridan,
block
and that's
before
just
responding,
a
so
few.
she couldn't see if I read it or
So,
not. And I
you
responded.
can work with them, set
So it's
yourself
like,
up. They will
don't come
tell you
to
where,
my
kind of
energy
guide you
and
where
say,
you
oh,
need
well,
to
I hope
go,
you find God.
but just
Please.
make sure that you're paying attention to
Please.
the
There's so
information
many
that they're
gods and
telling you,
goddesses
because you could
before
be
Jesus
taken with
Christ
shadow work.
himself.
It's not just about this life. If you're an
Oh
old
wait,
soul,
wait!
you're going to
Santa
be
Claus is
taken
a
down
fucking god
past
now.
life
Did you know
regressions
that?
as well. So that's things
Yes,
that
he
you have
is.
to heal from
He is
as
a
well. So
motherfucking
when
god.
it's generational
He is a
trauma,
motherfucking god.
it might actually be from a past life, and you have to
Depends
learn
on
how
the time of
to
year for you.
heal from it so you don't continue that cycle. Things that you can do to help reprogram your mind to get you back into a better mindset and help with the shadow work. Again, it does not have to be something big. It does not have to be oracle or tarot rituals. It does not have to be journal. It could be simply as starting as positive affirmations. You look at yourself in the mirror and you give yourself
Well, I mean, it probably. I mean,
a
if you
set
think
number
about it,
of
and
positive
where we
affirmations.
all
My favorite number
originated from,
is
we were
3.
all probably
I
at
love
some point
myself.
fucking black.
I am growing psychically. am proud of
I-
the journey I have come to get where I am now.
And that's
So
why
those
I
are things
just-
that I can
I gave my 2
positively
cents and
reinforce those negative thought demons in my
I could
head
have found it
to
absolutely.
be able to change it.
And that's
So you can make
and that's why I had to
um,
include like
you can do
worship
yin
a
yoga,
man
which is
who
like a yoga
worshipped
that
magic
is
himself.
minimal
produced
movement. You
magic.
kind of
And
stay in the
wait,
positions
died for
longer
his sins because he was
to
a
get
witch.
those things. Inner child work. Inner child work will
But I'm going
come
to hell because
and
I say
it's
I'm a
not
witch.
fun. Sometimes you just kind
Yeah,
of
but
have to
man,
let
you
that inner
worship.
child go out, have fun. What it's saying is your inner child, what did you do as an inner child to make you smile? Go out and do something that's going to make you smile as an adult. And if it brings a smile to your face, guess what? You have achieved that inner child for the day. You have brought joy and happiness to your life. Continue that. You can you're gonna embrace the unknown.
I'm
So
gonna
trust,
let it be.
patience, and lots of love.
I'm
Again,
gonna let it be because
creating art.
Oh, she's
We
a
get
witch.
stuck
She's
in our
gonna throw
blocks.
rocks.
We
I don't
feel
need to.
like we're unable to move. So for me,
That's the beautiful thing
creating
about me.
art,
You don't need
I'm
to say,
very,
oh, you're
very
cursed.
private
Put a
with my
curse on
art,
it.
or I have
No,
been
you're gonna bring on your
using
own
my
fucking
voice
karma.
now.
That's what it is.
So now it's about me getting my art, but I also was trying to find the art that I liked, that I was meant to share. So creating art, it's out there. It's whether you write, you paint, you draw, you're in a play, the possibilities are limitless. Limitless. Make sure that your heart is centered when you're doing
I said what
your
I had
shadow
to
work,
say, got the
because
last word in and blocked.
if your heart
I'm
is,
good. I'm good.
out of wax, your shadow work might be a little bit low on the vibrational side instead of
But
kind of coming up
I've been honest
and then
with myself.
going,
I've been
from there.
honest with myself, and I've been
let it
honest with
seed new
everybody else
beliefs.
around them.
So here's
me
one
to
that
give
I
them
fully
the
believe in
opportunity.
and has taught me a lot in the
So
thing.
I
And
gave
helped me with my
grace
housework,
and
because
multiple
my housework
chances of grace.
used to be so daunting. So with that, it was you replace it from should to could, because should is saying, oh well, yeah, I'll get to it when I get to it, and you put it off. And then instead of, when you say could, it's more motivating. It changes that mindset, like, oh, I could be doing that. I could be doing my dishes instead of playing on my computer. You take that step to be like, okay, well, yeah, my dishes need to be done. Okay, I'm gonna go do my dishes. So you change that mindset from that negative, again, those negative mind demons that say, oh, you can't do this, or you are gonna fail at this. No, you change it. I am going to succeed. I can do this. So change it from negative to positive. You have those negative thought demons come in. What can you do to replace those negative thought demons? Be consistent with it. Again, 21 days to make a habit. You're facing fears. Slow down and smell the roses. Slow down and see nature's finest. If you're hiking and you're just going and heads down and you're not stopping to enjoy the view around you, you're not getting anywhere. You're just going. When you stop and enjoy, you actually see the beautiful side in the shadow. You also begin to uproot dangerous beliefs. Maybe you are, and this is not a stab at religious, this is based on my own traumas. I do have religious traumas, so maybe you have religious traumas, and the word religion is hard for you to choke down or hear without shutting down. You have to learn how to get over that, and you have to learn how to give it a different perspective, so that when people mention religion, it's not to a point where you shut down. Grounding actively gets you into a better mindset, gets your energy flowing. It gives you a more positive flow on your daily vibe. Even if it's when you're in that downhill and that roller coaster and you think you're gonna hit rock bottom, it's a gradual, no, we're okay, we're good. It wasn't that mountain. It's now a little, maybe it's a molehill, maybe an anthill now. It's now coming with ease. Other things that you can do, you can meditate, you can breathe deeply. So one of the things that I did when I quit smoking cigarettes was I focused on my breathing, and I kind of went into a meditative state. And I smoked for a very long time, quit for a very long time, and then started back up when all my stuff with the military, my divorce, and all that was going through. So, I quit, and what I would do is I kept my same habit of going outside, but instead of lighting a cigarette up, I would sit there and I would focus on my breathing. Deep breaths in, slowly exhale, and I do it in through the nose, out through the mouth, and I would close my eyes and just listen, just kind of ground myself and listen. And about 3 days after doing that, I did not need to do it anymore and didn't even have any cravings. So I really focused on my breathing. So those are things that you can do. Take a walk. That's also a thing. You need to getting movement, getting that stress out, that energy, that pent up energy. Maybe you sit at a desk all day and you just kind of like feel the day coming up, those thoughts creeping up. If you go for a quick power walk and you get the blood pumping, that energy flowing, you're now grounding yourself to get yourself back on track for if you're doing your shadow work or your day-to-day activities. Again, shadow work is consistent. It may be a minimal thing. It might be something that's more drastic. Build yourself up to it. Drink water. You can play in water. Divination, those kinds of things, if you're into that. Remember in the process the things that you, in shadow work, you want to, I'm going to conclude with this, the things that you can control, not what you can't control. So our shadow is a part of us. It's our fragmented selves. So what we want to do is we want to be able to learn how to express our thoughts. So what is triggering us, okay? Again, it's that steps. Break it down into little steps. Break it into those questions. How can you express those thoughts? The who, what, where, when, why, however you do it. Is it writing? Is it vocally? Is it artistically? How do you nourish your soul? How are you taking the time for yourself? You can be working really heavy into shadow work. Do you know that it takes a lot of energy and it will drain you? And if you are consistent, go, and you're not stopping to take care of your own your energy, you are going to deplete yourself very, very, very quickly. And it's not fun. You'll be in bed for 3-4 days. You'll get that depressed feeling. You'll get overwhelmed, overstimulated, and you have to kind of fight your way back out of that nook again. So make sure you're always taking the time for yourself, whether it's that walk or a quick exercise, reading a book, learning something new. What is it that you are doing for yourself? What is it that you are consistently doing? It's okay if you have to change things up, but be consistent and show up for yourself as well, because shadow work is a lot of hard work. What else you can control is who you associate yourself with. So we've talked about those negative leads, those toxins, those people that weigh you down. If you're associating with yourself with those people still, then guess what? That's where your vibrational energy is, and that's where your shadow work is going to be. And it's going to feel like chaos. It's going to feel like the world is just crashing down in on you. Like nothing can go right. Like when they say Murphy's Law, anything can happen, it will happen. Anything can happen, good or bad, it will happen. So just keep that in mind. So if you're vibrating at that lower energy level, then that's where your shadow work is going to be. But when you start putting that consistency in and you start getting your energy into those higher levels, your shadow work is going to start going up and it's going to become easier. And those little triggers that we have begin to go away. That's in your control. whether or not to judge someone or something that comes across your path. So maybe you are walking down, you're taking your power walk, and you see somebody sitting on the side of the street asking for money. Are you quick to judge, or do you feel them? If you were be like, oh, well, go get a job, then that is where you need to take a step back and figure out where your compassion is. Because if you're judging somebody else, that is your own insecurities being projected onto that person. That person didn't ask for it. Why do they need to be brought down? They have their own insecurities that they're battling with. They may be battling with addiction, and we don't even know why, because we didn't bother to stop and ask. Don't judge a book by its cover. I love that saying. I say it. I've always said it. Don't judge a book by its cover. Because you never know what's going on the inside, and how you may be able to help, and how you may be able to make a difference. If you are consistently thinking of the past, that is in your control. So that means you are hanging on to something. You are not letting it go. When you begin to work on those things, you begin to not hang on to the past as much, and you begin to learn to let go, and you learn to control those things. Let's see. How and where you invest your money. So that comes down to giving and get. You can give it, and you can get it as well. Are you maintaining that balance? If you are just getting it and not giving back, at some point that shadow work is going to come back, and it's going to bite you in the butt, and it comes back to and falls back into our line with our topic last week, a manifestation. Let's see, and then the amount of effort you put forth into your shadow work. So when I say be consistent with yourself, it doesn't mean to half-ass the job. And what I mean by half-ass is where you show up and you do shadow work for a day, and then all of a sudden you are not doing it for 2 months. No. Because the universe has a way of stopping you and keeping you in that cycle until you're like, oh, I'm gonna decide to work on it. When you're consistent with it, those cycles become easier to break, they become easier to see, and you just have a better understanding of them. It all comes down to those triggers, those underlying emotions. When you are consistent with it, that 21 days makes a habit. If you are consistent with it every day, it took me a solid 1.5 years of solid shadow work before I remotely began to see improvement. Was I improving the entire time? Absolutely. Did I give myself the credit for it? No, I did not. Why? Because I didn't think of it. I was very go, let's get this shadow work done. So just remember, those are the things that you can control. Do we have any questions in regards to shadow work, things that you can do? Again, I'll get this typed up. I will get things that you can do that can make you consistent with your shadow work, so that you can incorporate the small things and build up to the bigger things. So if you're not writing yet, you feel like you're not ready for it, here's the things. Give yourself those positive affirmations. Start small. Then you can start building yourself up to the bigger stuff and get your shadow work moving. But again, it is not a process it's not going to happen overnight. Be patient with yourself. Love yourself. And make time for yourself, because if you show up and you do the work, the universe is going to show up and it's going to match you in that same energy. Beautifully. Thank you for your time. All right. Thank you. I'm going to end the read the live with an oracle pull from Healing Spirits. I'm having a brain moment because I can actually see. Well, you guys can actually see. Is it reversed on you guys? I don't know. It looks normal to me. Laptop. New adventures. new adventures. And thank you for everyone that has joined in today. Thank you for everyone who's joining in later who cannot watch right now. I hope you have a beautiful day. Okay, what messages do people need to receive? Got a few. 3 more shuffles. Okay. So it seems like we're a little bit on the chatty side today. Like a little on the chatty side. Okay. So our first card, hold on. I'm gonna have to chug my tea. I have tea time and I don't really drink it. Huh. Okay, so the first one is going to be share the gift. Your gifts are coming in. You may be aware of them. So it is time to start opening those gifts and sharing them with the world. With it could be, you know, if you're an oracle reader, a tarot reader, it could be your creative side, it could be your soul mission. Whatever your gift is, share that gift. It's meant to be shared with the world. And I think you know or have an inclination of where you need to go, which leads us into our next one. It isn't about being right, it's about doing the right thing. So again, it kind of goes into our shadow work. It's about being consistent. You know, you got to give to get, and then doing all those things. So do the right thing for not only yourself, but those that are around you, which comes with share the gift. Don't be misinformative or deceitful, and know that you, which goes into our next, you are your purpose, which means you are a divine individual. You have your unique gifts, and with our shadow, these are beautiful for shadow work today. These, you are your divine purpose. Only you can discover who you are meant to be. You can get help from others, but again, it comes with that consistency of knowing who you are and putting in that work. Whoever you are, I don't know who you are, whoever needs this, but somebody is sending you a spiritual hug. I know I feel mine. I got the chills going down my spine. Mine is my grandfather. So you are getting a spiritual hug from somebody. They see you, they recognize you. They want to know that they are absolutely proud of the work that you are doing. Keep going. You are not alone in this journey. And again, you'll hear me say that so many times. Which leads us to, you have the power to make yourself better. This again ties back to our shadow work. You are your own person. You have to be consistent with yourself to be able to move forward. If you're not consistent with yourself, you're going to put yourself in that stuck position. You have so much potential that is waiting. It just needs to be, you need to put that energy in and put it into motion. Get it out there. Let the universe have it and start putting the hard work in to get to it. Whoop. Inner space and universal knowledge. You, again, it comes back to being that divine being, that inner knowledge. It comes back to being that mind, healing that mind. Maybe you need to take a trip and you need to go on a meditation because you have a past life regression coming up. Or you need to access your records. I can't even think of the word at the time. So you are the inner space and universal knowledge. There is knowledge that you are unaware of that you haven't even tapped into. That potential is just waiting for you to get there. Which leads us to our final card. Carry the torch for others to see. Wake up the world, which kind of comes back to our first card of share the gift. You are meant to help others. So wherever you are, whatever your journey is, you are meant to help others in the journey. So wake up that torch. Start seeing who you are. Start waking up that soul mission so you can start waking up others and get them on the right path. This is Tea Time with Lady M. I hope you all have a beautiful day, a beautiful week. Don't forget to ground. Reach out if you have questions. This is our safe space. Have a wonderful and fantastic week.